Hello again. There's no music to start off side 2 this week, so here's Elizabeth with the first of our sports items.
Edmonton Rangers Lions under-11s produced a dominant performance to beat at Cassiobury Rangers 3-0 in the final of the Watford Friendly League Spring Cup at Harvesters FC near St Albans on Sunday. The Lions outplayed their Watford-based opponents from the start in what proved to be a tactical affair, with their defence superbly marshalled by skipper Malik Clark-Davis. Cassiobury were unable to cope with the Lions' passing and movement, and first-half goals from man-of-the-match Keenan Newman and Ernest V. Happy put the Edmonton side in control. The second half was more evenly matched, but the Lions sealed victory when Ethan Giwa and McNeil added their third with a fine finish at the end of a flowing counter-attack. Most of these boys were not even playing football a couple of years ago, said coach Shah Qureshi. I'm immensely proud of how they have developed, both as individuals and as a team. They've worked hard, but have never lost sight of the fact that football should be fun.
Saracens Hertfordshire Cricket League. Hotwise Trinibais opened their league season with a draw against St Albans on Saturday. Electing to bat first, the hosts were bowled out for 169, but could not bowl out St Albans, who made 117 for 8 in their very 50 overs. North Enfield were also comfortable winners in their opening fixture, beating Bushy by 41 runs. Put into bat first, the hosts scored 160 for 8, and in response, Bushy were bowled out for 119. Northampton Exiles started with a 5-wicket win at Berkhamsted. Winning the toss, Burko chose to bat first but were bowled out for 119, and in reply the visitors scored 120 for 5 to claim their win. And now the Middlesex County Cricket League. Winchmore Hill recorded a 5-run friendly victory over Southgate on Saturday. Visitors Southgate won the toss and put Winchmore Hill into bat first, and the hosts put up a score of 231 for 9 from 45, with opener Morgan Pryor top scoring with a score of 73. Suresh Kalagara was the main source of wickets, taking 4 for 45. And in reply, Southgate bowled out for 226, with Michael Stevens top scoring with 61. Sashas Selvaratnam took 3 for 43 for Southgate. Enfield were beaten by 131 runs by North Middlesex in a friendly, and Middlesex won the toss, elected to bat, scoring 228 for 2 after declaring. Matt Cracknell top scored with 113, and in response, Enfield were bowled out for just 155.
Rugby Union. Jackson Ray scored a hat-trick as Saracens condemned Worcester to relegation from the Aviva Premiership on Saturday by romping to an emphatic 44-20 victory. Just a week after destroying Clermont Auvergne in the semi-finals of the Heineken Cup, Sarries ran in a further 6 tries, with Chris Ashton 2 and David Strettle joining back row forward Ray in crossing the line as the side enjoyed a bonus point win, which saw them break the record for the highest single-season points total in Premiership history. To win 19 games out of 21 in a season and to accumulate 85 points is a great achievement, said Director of Rugby Mark McCall. And when we started, we wanted to be a really consistent club, and there's evidence that we're getting there. And Saracens will have been playing at Leicester on Saturday the 10th. Southgate Rugby Club secured the Hertfordshire and Middlesex Merit Table 7 Cup in some style by romping to a 27-0 victory over Biggleswade 3 in the final. Southgate took the lead in 20 minutes when Sam Kemp scored in the corner and James Kretovinkov, added a second try soon after before Southgate further extended their advantage prior to the interval as Hugo Lizario Costa shrugged off 2 tacklers to touch down. Biggleswade attempted to fight back in the second half, but they were unable to get on the score sheet, and Lizario Costa sealed an emphatic victory by intercepting a loose pass and running 3/4 of the way up the pitch to claim his second try. And now we go back to the news with Elizabeth.
More than 1,000 parishioners flocked to St Monica's Church at the weekend to mark the building's centenary. The church in Stannard Road, Palmer's Green, celebrated Mass on Sunday with the Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Vincent Nichols, on the 100th anniversary of its inaugural service. So many attended that the Mass was transmitted to the neighbouring Intimate Theatre in Green Lane. The Catholic mission was established in 1910 in a private house in Grovelands Road. The current site was acquired in 1912, and the church was dedicated to St Monica, whose feast day at that time was celebrated on May the 4th. Sunday's service was followed by a barbecue, which featured food provided by the Maronette Christian community and the Knights of St Columba. Parish priest Canon Sean Leonard said, "This is a wonderful opportunity for St Monica's and a wider community to celebrate the centenary of the church. We are building on the work of many people who have gone before us, priests, religious and laity, who have given of their time and talent so generously." In the church's anniversary magazine, Cardinal Nichols said, "As we gather around the altar at St Monica's giving thanks to God for 100 years of worship in this building, we likewise give thanks for the living stones who make up this parish." The church, whose hall is the next-door theatre, also holds monthly masses in Polish, runs a soup kitchen every Tuesday in central London, stages 3 trade craft events every year, and organises a weekly walking group.
Budding actors were so excited when they got the chance to meet American singer-songwriter Anastasia backstage at her comeback gig. Joe Booth, who was 18, and Simon Deegan, 23, who were both students at Chicken Shed Theatre Company, were invited backstage to meet their favourite pop star. Ahead of the show, Simon, who is currently doing a BA Honours in Inclusive Performance, said, "We're so excited to get to meet Anastasia. Being part of Chicken Shed Theatre Company has opened all sorts of doors for me, and I never thought would be possible." The pair was awarded the opportunity by online ticket marketplace StubHub, which is a partner of Chicken Shed. Chicken Shed creates theatre for all ages and abilities, running outreach projects as well as education courses. Brigitte Ricu-Bellin, General Manager at StubHub, said, "Chicken Shed is a brilliant theatre company which prides itself on being totally inclusive. Through our Rising Star programme, which supports local and grassroots non-profits, we are committed to supporting Chicken Shed and other similar organisations that are expanding access and opportunity for at-risk youth to engage in arts and sport."
More than 50 firefighters were called into action when a fire broke out on the 9th floor of a block of flats. 8 fire engines and 58 firefighters from across North London attended the scene in Sydney Road, Enfield Town, on Saturday, April the 26th. The building was evacuated and the blaze took just over an hour to bring under control, with many people taking to social media to express their views and to keep the community informed. London Fire Brigade Station Manager Mick Sayer, who was at the scene, said firefighters did an excellent job to get this under control quickly. 3 adults and 2 children got out of the 9th floor flat and around 20 people evacuated from the surrounding flats due to the smoke. All other residents stayed inside their flats, which was much safer than attempting to escape, which could have been risky due to the smoke and firefighting equipment. Living in a flat is not more dangerous than living in a house, but it's important to know what your fire plan is and how you'd escape if a fire did break out.
A teenager with dreams of becoming the next Michael Jordan has been selected for an exclusive basketball scholarship. East Finchley resident Marcel Thomas Lee, a sports student at Barnet and Southgate College, will continue his training at Hardin-Simmons University in Texas. The second-year student completed levels 1 to 3 of his sports BTEC and is due to finish college this summer. He was selected for the position after sending videos of himself playing basketball to various US universities. The college said he was a high-caliber candidate for one of their basketball and academic scholarships. In Texas, 19-year-old Marcel will study for a degree in sports fitness and recreation and have access to experts in the field. He will also be trained by specialist nutrition, strength and condition experts.
Excuse me, sorry. Enfield North MP Nick Dubois is continuing the fight against knife crime with calls to impose tougher penalties for carrying knives. The MP has tabled an amendment at the Criminal Courts of Justice Bill going through Parliament that will impose a mandatory 4-month detention order for those under 18 carrying a knife. Calls have also been made to impose a 6-month jail term for adults. But Liberal Democrat chiefs have dug their heels in over this legislation. The Enfield Independent supported the Enfield North MP by launching its own anti-knife campaign, Don't Carry, Don't Kill. The MP's campaign was enshrined into law in December 2012 and dubbed the Enfield Law. Now Mr Dubois is back on the campaign trail along with Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows and is hoping to gather support from fellow MPs in a bid to pass the amendment. He said, "We managed to get the law changed in 2012, but that wasn't enough. We must go further and send out a clear signal that carrying a knife could lead to a prison sentence." Mr Dubois said that his campaign began in 2010 after visiting Yvonne Lawson, whose son Godwin was stabbed to death in Stamford Hill. The MP has also called on members of the public to show their support by writing to their own MPs to help back the amendment. He said, "My message is simple for everyone to write to their MPs calling for their support against knife crime. Currently, we see 5,000 a year taken to A&E with knife-related injuries."
What a shame. With what passes for the great British summer a mere cloudburst away, this week might be the ideal time to lace up a pair of stout walking boots and set off on an exploratory journey of the green spaces on your doorstep. With sedentary lifestyles forcing us off our feet and onto the sofa, Get Walking Week, organised by National Association The Ramblers and taking place until Saturday, is trying to lure couch potatoes into the great outdoors. 2 women from the North London and South Herts Ramblers Association are determined to show off the very best that the area can offer in the way of fresh air and exercise. Both Horton and Libby Martin have painstakingly planned 2 walks to welcome newbie ramblers into the fold this week. The first took place on Monday when Beth and a group of eager ramblers set off on a gentle amble through 40 Hall Estate in Enfield. On Saturday, walkers of all ages and abilities are invited to gather at Totteridge Tube Station at 2 p.m. Libby, a High Barnet resident and leader of Saturday's walk, said the 4-mile hike along Dollis Brook and Folly Brook to Darlands Lake Nature Reserve is an ideal introduction to the joys of rambling. I used to go walking on my own, but I heard about the ramblers, joined up and began walking with a group between 10 to 12 miles each week and have absolutely loved it ever since, she said. Singing the praises of the power of walking, Libby added, "When I began walking with a group, I certainly lost weight and it really keeps you fit. It is fun and it's pleasant. It's far better than the gym. If that is not enough to tempt you into the lush green lanes and bridleways of North London, the prospect of a warming drink at the Orange Tree pub in Totteridge Village, where the walk finishes up, could seal the deal for anyone who fancies some exercise this weekend." Libby is encouraging anyone who thinks they may enjoy walking as part of a group to come along. And for those unable to make it on Saturday, contact the Ramblers for more information on future walks by emailing ramblersniche@hotmail.co.uk.
More than 2 tons of paper was shredded in the first ever free shredding day in the UK. Hosted by Enfield-based Crown Records Management and Communities Group Love Your Doorstep, residents and businesses flocked to Enfield Town to dispense of unwanted paperwork. Anne Seller of Crown Records Management said, "We were delighted with the turnout. It was great to provide a service helping local residents and businesses to safely carry out their spring cleaning. Roll on National Shredding Day 2015.
An exhibition celebrating the artistic works of one of the greatest amateur gardeners of the 19th and 20th centuries opened at Forty Hall last week. Simon Parker Bowles returned to his childhood home in Forty Hill, Enfield, to open the exhibition, which commemorates the work of his great-great-uncle, Edward Augustus Bowles. The exhibition, My Garden Trilogy by E.A. Bowles, Centenary of a Garden Classic, will display Bowles's watercolours of spring flowers to celebrate the centenary of the first publication of his renowned books about his gardens at neighbouring Middleton House in Bull's Cross. The concept, curation and funding for the exhibition have been provided by the E.A. Bowles of Middleton House Society, who, by also showing historic photos of the gardens, hope to demonstrate how the current gardening team have continued to use Bowles's horticultural ethos. Jackie Kingdom, chairman of the society, said, "We are absolutely delighted with the opening of the exhibition. It went extremely well and was favourably received. The Society aims to promote E.A. Bowles's name by portraying the story of his legacy, his talent as an artist and author, and the role the family played in Enfield. His books, My Garden in Spring, Summer, Autumn and Winter, take readers on a tour around his gardens, which remain in the grounds of the house, now the offices of the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority. Throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, E.A. Bowles travelled with many eminent plant hunters seeking new specimens to bring back to Middleton House. The gardens boast a large collection of the genus Crocus, a plant that Bowles was interested in, collected and grew extensively in the gardens. Proceeds from the event will help to maintain the gardens, fund a memorial award for aspiring horticulturalists, and secure future exhibitions at Middleton House. Mrs. Kingdom added, "We want the public to come and enjoy this celebration of Bowles's work. We have a lovely cafe in a lovely setting. The exhibition is well worth a visit." The exhibition, which runs until July the 27th, is free to the public, along with the facilities at Forty Hall and the Middleton House Gardens.
A woman who slit her husband's wrists as part of a suicide pact yesterday pleaded guilty to his manslaughter. Anne Pollen, 47, of Hawthorne Road, Edmonton, admitted killing 58-year-old Leonard Pollen at the start of a trial at the Old Bailey. Police believe Mrs. Pollen and her husband had entered into a suicide pact after he was arrested on suspicion of rape in August 2012. He was released on bail, pending further inquiries, and a week after his arrest, the couple were found by paramedics in their home. Mr. Pollen was pronounced dead at the scene on September the 3rd, 2012, and Mrs. Pollen had injuries to her wrists. She said they'd tried to kill themselves 3 days earlier, but both came round and slit their wrists again. Mrs. Pollen later woke to find her husband dead. In a final attempt to take her own life, she cut her wrists again and took painkillers. She is due to be sentenced at the Old Bailey this morning. That's a very sad story, isn't it?
Indians carrying a rucksack, Indians in the corner shop, Indians driving a taxi. It's a stereotype that is stifling. British Asian actors say, Shiv Jalar. The 27-year-old from Edmonton is determined to reshape the face of cinema in the UK by becoming the new Sylvester Stallone. I idolise him, Shiv said, of the Rocky star, who famously wrote and starred in the franchise and battled against Hollywood's desire to cast Robert Redford as the boxing hero. He was unusual in terms of how he looked and realised he was getting cast in things that weren't right for him. So he wrote Rocky, which is all about standing up for your beliefs. My vision is also that I am not going to conform and I want to change the game. Having just made a step in the right direction, starring the thriller Arjun and Allison, which tackles racism on a university campus, Shiv is now working on his own comedy film script and hopes to land a big name to star in it with him. As British Asians, we are stifled and have to do whatever has been written for us, so we have to start writing and being creative ourselves, says Shiv. I want to reshape the way Indian characters in Western productions are given credit. I know that seems ambitious. The former pupil of Hazelbury School grew up in the area, dreaming of being on big screen, and says, as long as I can remember, I used to watch movies and get really taken in by them, and could imagine myself doing what the actor was doing. Initially, my family were worried because it was a career which isn't that easy, but my parents could tell I was dedicated to it and have supported me wholeheartedly, and that has what has allowed me to follow my dream. After completing his education at Broomfield School, Shiv left for Mumbai to gain formal training in acting, Whistling Woods International, and at the Lee Strasberg Theatre and Film Institute in Los Angeles.
Well, we've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thanks for your patience while we've been dealing with our technical hiccups. And don't forget, your reader's representative, Diane de Jersey, is on 020-8805-6578 if you need any help with the talking newspaper. And please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible so we can send out the next edition. And that will be with you in 1 week's time. Thanks for being with us. From me, Elizabeth, Audrey, Ros, and Katherine, goodbye.